Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here, and thank you for joining me for this episode of Battle Bites in World of Tanks. And once again, I am in my VK3002M, which is the German Tier 6 medium tank. And we are once again in a Tier 8 battle, this time on Erlenberg. And this is my last, I think it was my very last, if not, it was really close to my last battle in this tank before unlocking the Panther, which is the Tier 7 big brother to this tank. And so, good replay here. I just wanted to highlight some of my impressions on the tank now that I've finished the grind and moved on to the Panther. Early on, speed is lacking in this tank when you first unlock it, and that's one of the biggest drawbacks, is that you're a little bit sluggish, and you certainly don't have armor or a really heavy hitting gun. So mobility is the key to this tank. Once you get the speed upgrades for this tank that come with some of the later packages, it becomes a pretty capable machine. You want to use it more as a second line sniper. It's got a 7.5 centimeter gun, so the alpha is pretty low, but the rate of fire is pretty high. Accuracy is good, and you're certainly not going to bounce much with your armor. The front plate's okay, and it's sloped pretty well. So if you're angling properly and a light tank or some other low caliber gun shoots you, you can bounce a shot or two from it, but certainly don't count on it. Instead, what you want to do is either be flanking enemies, like right now on this KV4, his turret's pointing somewhere else, so I can just pump round after round into him. But another drawback on the tank, the penetration is not great on this tank. You do need to switch to premium rounds for more heavily armored tanks. Now, certainly probably didn't need it for the rear of the KV4, but we get a nice fire damage and let him burn, and we're able to eliminate him for the first kill in this match. So the other thing about this tank, it has decent view range. I have to admit, I made quite a comical and critical error. The tank that leads to the VK3002M is the VK2801, which is a light tank, and I had fun in that tank. I had set it up as a scout. I was using the derp gun on it, and it was okay, and nothing great, but I liked it. And then when I unlocked this tank, I just thought, for some reason, it also was a light tank. So the first equipment I put on it was a camo net, which probably wasn't a bad choice. There's probably better choices out there, but if you're a sniper, camo net's not bad. But then I also got the binoculars, because again, I figured I was going to be an advanced scout in this tank, and that's not really what it's meant for. There are opportunities for the binoculars, and I don't regret it, but 10 gold to unload it from the tank when I'm done with it, not a big deal. But yeah, certainly not a common choice, I don't think, for this tank. You probably want to go with a rammer and with a gun laying drive or vents or something else, just an all-round kind of equipment loadout. The binoculars is a bit of a peculiar setup, led to it because, again, I thought when I unlocked this tank it was a light tank, and it certainly was not. So here we are at the end of this battle, and the T-71 on my team, man, I wish I had his perspective of this video, because he was just a rock star. He just flew into our base that the enemy was capping. He took out the KV5. He's challenging this T-29. I think he took somebody else out as I was making my way over here. I was trying to be more cautious and flank, and he just got in here and started mixing it up. So now, thankfully, again, I'm in a position where the enemy I'm shooting at is not pointing towards me. I was going for a track here. I thought if I tracked, I'd really be able to circle strafe the T-29. But I'm able to do some damage, and then, oh my goodness, that was lazy on my part. I did not go into the sniper mode to aim, so my shot, I think, just grazed off the top of the engine deck. That was a real shame. So I took a hit needlessly, and now it's 2-on-1. The T-71's on a sliver of health. There's a WZ-131 on the enemy team, and he might be able to take me out really quickly too, so we could lose this. Thankfully, the T-71 advances. I go with him. The two of us are both able to put a shot in. I get credit for the kill. I think the T-71 did damage as well there, and we secure that win. So I think that was a good way to go out. That's examples of how you want to use the VK3002M. You either want to be sitting back behind the first row of heavy tanks, throwing out long-range fire, or you want to be mixing it up, but using your speed to flank and shoot at enemies that can't shoot back at you. I have an example of a mastery badge in this tank, which I'll put an annotation up to now, where I was putting those principles to use. And again, the other thing that this tank has is a rapid-firing gun as opposed to high-caliber gun. So if you ever get into a battle with somebody who has a high-caliber, slow-firing gun, make sure you put in 2 or 3 for every hit that you take. So again, this is a tier 8 battle. I did not do a lot of damage, and I did not do damage to a lot of tanks, but tier 6 tank in a tier 8 battle, and we took out or assisted on almost the entirety of that KV4's health, and so that was enough for a first class mastery badge in this tier 8 battle. And shortly after I completed this battle, we of course went to unlock the big brother, the tier 7 Panther. And I gotta tell you, I have been having a blast playing the Panther. If you guys are into the Panther, I suggest you like and subscribe to the video, because I have a handful already of replays in the Panther that are pretty good, pretty entertaining, and they will be coming out shortly. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.